In this video, I want to just review the basics of using Google Slides. More and more, all of us are using Google Slides now, but not to do the traditional slideshow presentation that we would think of in a large meeting room. Now we're using it more and more as a tool for delivering distance learning activities to students. So I'm going to take that perspective as we go through these videos and try to help you be familiar with some of the tools that you can use that will make that easier for you. So first, if you haven't used Google Slides, let's start at the beginning. How would you create a new Google slide? And you have the two basic options that you would have with any Google tool. You would come up to the 9 dots, or the waffle pattern as some people call it. You would click on that and select Slides. Or you could come over and click on New and Google Slides. Either way, it's going to open up a new Google Slide presentation for you. What you see on the screen at the moment is the typical opening screen for Google. You would see you've got an untitled presentation, so you would want to give it a title, and we will call this our sample. You would have your menu items for Google Slides. You would have a toolbar for Google Slides. Down the side, these will be the thumbnails so that you can see small samples of all of your slides. Here in the center of the screen is your large workspace where you would be creating a slide. If you were going to do a presentation, you would have some speaker notes down below. You can slide that down and make that go away if you're not going to use those. And over on the side would be different themes that you could use to create background colors or images if you wanted a set of themes for presentation. I'm going to skip that today because we're really going to work with our own graphics, so I'm just going to close that, and that gives me the maximum space for working on my slide. So that's what we're looking at if we open a new Google Slide presentation. Now, when we open it, it always gives us a slide that is in this format. It is wider than it is tall. It is a landscape view. It is designed for projectors and computer screens and that particular ratio. You can change that. You can make that anything you want. If you're going to just present online or through your Google Classroom, you might want it to remain the same. But you can certainly come over under File, go down to Page Setup, and here you will see you'll have some options. You don't have to be widescreen. You could be standard. You could be a different widescreen ratio, but you can come to custom. You could make it an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper if you wanted. You could make it whatever size you need it to be. Apply that size, and then you would be working in that perspective with your Google slide. You can also change the layout. A new Google slide always opens with this particular layout, thinking that you're going to give a big title, maybe a subtitle to your presentation, and then you'll continue to add slides. I generally tell everyone to start by just clicking above that, dragging across it, hitting the delete key, and now you're starting with a blank slide. That's usually the best way to begin, but you don't have to do that in order to get to a blank slide. So I'm going to come up to my undo arrow over here, or Command Z. This is one of your best friends. Let's go back to where we were. You also have this pull down layout menu. This will show you all the different layouts available to you. Maybe you just need a title in the center. Maybe you want columns where you can add text for a presentation. I tend to work with blank slides. That way I can add what I want. And so you can change just by coming up and choosing that option. Once you finish this slide, how do you get a new slide? You can click the plus sign here on the left. That will give you a new slide. But you can also go just to the side of that and click the little arrow and choose your new slide, but make sure the new slide is also in the layout that you want. So that way you don't have to keep deleting items. You can just pick the layout that you want from the very beginning. You can see that as you add slides, you can see several down the side. So that's how you would see the slides that you were working on. You can reorder the slides. You can drag them around. I know since they're blank, it doesn't look like I'm doing much, but it is moving things around. If you have a slide that you like the content of and you just need to change a little bit for the next slide, rather than doing a new slide, right-click on the slide and just duplicate it. And then you would be able to make the small minor adjustments that you wanted to make. And once you've got slides all set the way you want, you can leave them as they are, and you can attach this to a Google Classroom activity. If it is for a presentation, you would come up and click the Present button in the upper right and present to a group of people in a conference room. You would be able to share this screen and share your slides in a Zoom or Google Meet. You can also download the activity as a Microsoft PowerPoint if you needed to transfer it over to that format of slide. You could download PDF documents. You could download the slide as a JPEG or PNG image if you just need it as a photo. And of course, you can print them. You can print them with one slide on each page. You also have the option of putting multiple slides on a page. This is how you would do it if you were maybe just given a small handout and you wanted small copies of each slide represented to the people in the room. So that's a quick summary of just the basics of opening a slideshow, changing the layout of your slides, adding new slides, and then finalizing with either a presentation, getting it into Google Classroom, printing, downloading, etc. Now, let's move forward and learn some other skills with Google Slides.